Boxing Lowdown, and I'm back here with another video. So I wanted to give my thoughts on this whole KSI Logan Paul situation. The fact that it's going to be showing on Sky Sports pay-per-view now for $9.95, and the fact that we're going to see professional fighters, world-class fighters, such as Billy Joe Saunders fighting on the undercard. Now, let me give my thought and opinion on it. Now, when they had the first fight, KSI and Logan Paul, they had the boxing fight which was shown on YouTube pay-per-view. I had no problems with it at all. You know, I think that if you can bring in a casual fan into the sport, I think it's a good idea. At the end of the day, a lot of hardcore boxing fans, such as myself, looked at it as if, you know, this is bringing a bad light in boxing. Like, how could these two YouTubers be making like money off boxing like this? How could they, you know, is it embarrassing for boxing? The hardcore fan is always going to have this sort of opinion on like KSI, Logan Paul, and I'm with it. I understand it. I'm a hardcore boxing fan myself. I think on the wider scale though, I think that these boxers, like, I'm not talking about KSI and Logan Paul now, but these boxers do need, you know, a platform. They do need something to showcase their skills on. In terms of the era that we're in right now, it's a heavily social media era right now. There are so many different platforms to watch things, to stream things, and the casual fan at the end of the day is what's going to pay the pocket. If the boxers had to rely on us hardcore fans, then they wouldn't be making the money that they should. And I'm an advocate for these fighters making as much money as they can in boxing. So, listen, KSI Logan Paul has no interest to me on a personal level. I don't really care about either of the two guys. But at the end of the day, if we are able to bring in more casual fans into the sport, if we are able to get more of these guys into the gym, then I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing on that scale. And I think that with KSI Logan Paul, the amount of people that they're going to attract to watch this sort of event will bring in the casual fan. Hopefully, you know, it's going to be shown on Sky Sports, so people are going to be ordering that. I'm not interested in the sort of numbers that it's going to do with regards to how much Eddie Hearn and Sky Sports are going to make, or DAZN, but I do think if we can bring in the casual fan and get them into boxing, like make boxing a more popular sport, then I'm all for it. But I think it's important that these two don't embarrass boxing as well on a world level. You know, they're going to be fighting professionally for the first time. They're two novices, never been in a ring like that before. And we've got somebody like Billy Joe Saunders on the undercard, which is something that I don't really agree with. I can see why Billy Joe Saunders has gone down that route for the reasons that I've stated earlier. It's going to be, you know, beneficial to him financially. It could bring in a higher crowd for him. You know, he could get more fans on the back of it. But just in terms of Billy Joe Saunders, him being a world-class fighter, having to fight on the undercard of these two novices, you know, it doesn't ring right with me. But at the end of the day, I'm not his manager, I'm not his promoter, I'm not within his close circle, so I can't tell people like Billy Joe Saunders what to do. The same with Devin Haney. I think for him, he's an up-and-coming fighter. He's one that's destined to be a star. Him being on the undercard of, you know, these two novices is not so bad in his sense. You know, he's going to try and build up his fan base as much as he can, and he probably has a closer connect with the sort of crowd that's going to tune into KSI Logan Paul than Billy Joe Saunders would. So I understand him being on that undercard as well. So I also heard Shannon Briggs will be on the undercard as well. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I haven't been doing too much research into it, but I think it's positive and a negative in that sense. I think that it's positive that there is the potential to attract more fans to the sport, fans that never would have tuned into boxing anyway. They're going to be tuning into this. They're going to see some world-class fighters in action, so maybe they might see them and think, wow, let me do some more research on him. You know, I might start following this guy now. That would be the ultimate aim for these fighters on the card. So if they could get that, as well as a healthy financial reward, then it's not the worst thing in the world. You know, people will be tuning into it. Like, let's be honest. Even though us hardcore fans have something to say about it, people are going to be watching it. So as long as they don't embarrass my sport, then that's all I really care about, man. If it brings in the fans and that, then that's great. Just don't embarrass it. I mean, the sport's been embarrassed in other ways anyway, so we can't just really look at these guys as, you know, the be-all and end-all with regards to embarrassing the sport or not. But I just don't want to see the sport get embarrassed at the end of the day. But I think it's overall mainly a positive thing. I'm still not certain about Billy Joe Saunders being on that undercard. I think he could be showcased in many other ways. But listen, if he's happy with it, if, you know, his team are happy with it, then who are we to say anything at the end of the day? You know, he's going to make his money from it. So if he's happy, then fine. But I'm sure you guys like myself want to see Billy Joe Saunders tested in there with the very best now. We saw Triple G at the weekend, and, you know, he wasn't very impressive. Billy Joe Saunders will certainly feel that Triple G is ready for the taking now. So I want to see him in those sort of fights next year. I'm willing to see him, you know, in this sort of run out. But next year we really need to see Billy Joe Saunders in action against the top guys. So let's hope that that does happen. But yeah, just my thoughts and opinions on that whole KSI, you know, Paul Logan, whatever his name is, that whole thing. I think it's a good idea and a bad idea in terms of, you know, embarrassing the sport, but it could bring in new fans, and at the end of the day, that's what we want. We don't want boxing to be closed off to just a small community of hardcore fans. We want boxing to get back to where it was, especially in America as well. We want it to get to that stage where it's a global brand, where everybody's watching it, where it's as big as the likes of the NFL and everything else, you know, because at the moment it's not. It's pretty much down the pecking order in terms of sports in the United States. So if this can, you know, possibly bring it up a few notches up to that level, then I'm all for it, man. But let's just hope that it doesn't get embarrassed in the process. So drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think of it. Do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea? You know, let me know your thoughts. I'll catch you guys on the next one.